On the 2020 campaign trail, Joe Biden liked painting himself as a pro-union candidate, a candidate that cared about the workers of this country. But recently, Joe Biden completely shattered that image. Rail worker unions were threatening to strike if Congress didn't come to a labor agreement with the companies these workers were employed with. The main concern of these workers were their grueling and unpredictable schedules that made it difficult for them to tend to any medical issues that may arise. A railroad strike could have been disastrous for this country, because much of our supply chain relies on freight trains, and not to mention, we're in the holiday season. Certain things that people may order for their loved ones for Christmas may be carried on a freight train, like say maybe they order a big screen TV for someone, or order a large quantity of a certain product that may be put on a freight train. So Congress imposed a deal. What was included in that deal? From the New York Times, the agreement the Biden administration helped to broker would include a 24% increase in wages in the 5 years from 2020 through 2024. In addition, it gave workers one additional paid day off and an ability to attend to medical appointments without penalty. Measures that were intended to ease what workers said was a rigid scheduling system that did not allow them to take care of their health or take personal time they needed. But it did not include paid sick leave, and it effectively required that employees use unpaid time off to attend medical appointments. So these workers are still fucked if they get sick and are still penalized in a way, because if they need to attend to medical appointments or have any medical issue at all, they do not get paid sick leave. That is money that is not given to the workers, but instead remains in the pockets of the corporations that employ these workers, because they committed the cardinal sin of getting sick. In an attempt to avert a rail strike happening, especially during the holiday season, Joe Biden signed legislation that effectively made it illegal for rail workers across the country to strike. Joe Biden argues that he did this because if a strike were to happen, it would be a catastrophe for the economy, and as many as 700,000 plus workers would be out of work. So it should be clear cut that Joe Biden does not give a damn about the workers in this country, because instead of giving these rail workers paid sick leave, something they so desperately wanted and almost went on strike to get, he prioritizes the economy over the health of these workers who, if taken out of the equation, these rail industries would not have fucking shit. I was watching a YouTube video earlier where Bernie Sanders talks about this issue, and he mentions in the video that in the first 3 quarters of this year, the rail industry made $21 billion in profit. And certain CEOs in the rail industry have made up to $20 million a year. And yet, if these workers get sick, too fucking bad. You don't get any paid sick leave. Shouldn't have gotten sick. This takes me back to early on in the pandemic when quarantine first happened. A lot of jobs shut down, minus the essential jobs, and we had politicians, celebrities, and even commercials praising the essential workers who are going out there in the midst of a pandemic, still doing their fucking jobs and ensuring that those of us who are sitting on our asses for all of those months were taken care of. And since most people seem to not give a fuck about COVID anymore and quarantine has been over for a while now, all of that pro-essential worker sentiment went right out the fucking window. People just completely forgot about all that. If a fucking global pandemic does not make us appreciate the workers who help make shit in this country run, nothing will, so long as corporate greed is still a force to be reckoned with in this world. All of these multi-billion-dollar corporations and people on top of the chain of said corporations continue to gain, and yet the workers who, without them, these corporations wouldn't have fucking anything, get fucking table scraps. It is absurd that in the year 2022, going into 2023, workers are afraid to get sick because they won't have paid sick leave, or in some extreme cases, they may even lose their fucking jobs because they're unable to go to work because they have a medical emergency. And now rail workers can't do shit because Biden said, you can't strike because you gotta serve the economy first and foremost. Fuck your health, the economy should be prioritized. Congress did try to pass a bill that would have provided 7 days paid sick leave for rail workers, but this bill died in the Senate, Every Democrat, with the exception of Joe Manchin, of fucking course, voted in favor of this bill, but only 6 Republicans voted in favor of this bill. This bill needed 60 votes to pass, it failed to reach 60 votes, so therefore it died in the Senate. Many politicians in this country do not give a single fuck about the workers and only care about being in the pockets of the billion-dollar corporations that continually screw over these workers. And it's not going to fucking stop, because so long as capitalism continues to have a stranglehold on this country, we're going to see workers continue to get screwed over time and time again by billion-dollar corporations who only care about gaining more money and could not give a fuck less about the health and safety of their workers, who are the sole fucking reason these corporations are as powerful as they are in the first place. So with all of that said, shame on you, Joe Biden. Fucking shame on you for stripping away the voice of these rail workers who don't want to be punished just for being sick. So much for pro-union Joe. I'm the most pro-union president in the history of the United States. I think he actually made a claim that fucking bold. Jesus, that sure as shit aged well. And also, progressives like AOC and Ilhan Omar voted in favor of Biden squashing the ability for rail workers to go on strike. Rashida Tlaib is the only one who is part of the quote-unquote squad who stood up for the rail workers, who voted against this legislation that Biden signed. It's nice to see that some of the quote-unquote most progressive members of Congress actually don't give a fuck about the workers. That's very nice. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.